So it is interesting when I hear you talk about having kids and how much that changed your life, that there was so much of your story before that too, right? And of course, you'll never really know life post, like after having kids. There really is, you'll always have kids now. Um,
Mhm.
but I think that also really speaks to the nature of having been together for so long. And one of my favorite things is when we're at a wedding together and they play the game of like all the couples get on the dance floor and dance, and then if you've been married for um you know more than 5 years, stay on the dance floor. If you've been married for more than 10 years, stay on the dance floor. More than 20. And then they'll get to like 25 and it starts to look like, oh, a lot of these people look really old. And then there are my parents, and then it's like 30. And now it's like there are people like in their 70s sitting down, and my parents are still up there, and y'all are always like the youngest people there. And I think not that, getting married young isn't a virtue in and of itself, but I think there is something really beautiful about having been married young and building a life together as a couple, and then entering into the decision to have kids together. um, and you have been together for so long, it's like that.
But I don't see us as having gotten married young. We were, what, 28 and 20.
23 and 27.
Yeah, okay.
So can you imagine me being married for 2 years at this point in my life, Dad?
Nope.
There you go. Right?
But it's different because you're a different, I
It
know you
is.
differently, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's different. Everyone comes from a different life situation.
Yeah.
And you can never plan when you're going to meet the person you want to spend the rest of your life with, right?
Yeah. Well, and theoretically, it could have happened for me in high school. It could maybe not happen for another 10 years or for the rest of my life. I think that's so true. Um, yeah. So I guess then to go back to the beginning, Mom, you said that is a part of our story, but it's not our whole story. What else sticks out to you that you want to share?
Well, I mean, like you said, we had a huge 9 years, almost 10 years before your brother was born. So we had a full life of so many firsts together. I think is part of what is really fun. And of course, we met at work, and I was a waiter, and your dad was a bartender, uh, and he made Super Mike margaritas, which margaritas are still my favorite. Um, and we traveled a lot. I always wanted to travel. We didn't travel much growing up. I mean, when I say not much, it really wasn't much at all. We had one trip to Disney World when I was in fourth grade, and a couple of trips to um, the Gulf Coast, Texas, when I was growing up. But that was literally it. I think I remember three family-ish trips.
Well, and
Um,
even within that, it's like the difference between travel and vacation, too, right? Like those are very different things, going to Disney versus like going to a place to experience that place. Because it, even though Disney is in Florida, it's like it doesn't really feel like you're going to Florida. You're going to Disney, right? So
right,
it's like
right.
it's still different. Well, and I remember the first time Grandma went out of the country was with us for JT's wedding, for my cousin's wedding, which is kind of interesting to think about. So yes, this travel that you had in common.
So we enjoyed that. I mean, we learned all about food and restaurants, and I think we gave each other the support and the space to do things that maybe we wouldn't have done alone. Go
Right.
to nicer restaurants that we wouldn't have probably tried Um, Mike, what else did we do
Well, we
together? We
also
did a lot of stuff.
we had a lot of opportunity to talk about stuff and learn about each other's value systems and interests and how we felt about kids. Do we want kids? How many? What's our spirituality? Where do we stand with religion? And how do we want to? Do we have a particular set of beliefs that we want to instill in our children? Um, is that how important are each of these values and how flexible are they? Because when anybody comes together with another person, when you're a couple or a group or a team or what have you, there's a lot of differences, individual differences that come into play, and you have to respect each other's differences and play into that. But it's great. It was really good for us that we had a lot of time. It was kind of a casual, organic learning about each other. It wasn't forced. It wasn't okay. We've got X number of days to figure each other out, and then if it works, we check the boxes and we go get married. It never really
Right.
happened that way for us. It just
No, we were
What?
very not serious at first, and as we continued to date, eventually I guess, became exclusive, and we spent just a lot of time together. Lots of road trips, lots of talking, lots of singing. Talk about JT, my nephew, whose wedding we went to. All you ever do is sing and have fun and laugh. Would you just stop? Which was kind of just made us laugh even more. But
Right, of course.
yeah,
But
we
what
did have
a
a.
because I think kids naturally, I mean, part of self-individuation and growing up is rebelling against like the caretaker figures. So it's like the fact that that's what he found to rebel against. It's like if you have to rebel against something,
yeah,
that's a pretty good one to feel like, well, he couldn't find anything but that, right? Which, of course,
yeah,
not to say that it was flawless or that there weren't um, difficulties either, but I think that it's just really awesome and also really funny to think about a little kid
Yeah.
saying that. Um, with this idea of like it just happening organically, naturally, it wasn't rushed. I know mom in me not being someone that's like, marriage is a priority, um, us talking about that a lot, you have always been very honest about the fact that it was like, I did not want to get married. That was not a thing that I wanted until I met your dad. And it was like, even then, this is fun until I was would say until it wasn't. Not that it wasn't fun, but it's like,
Well,
but that it's like that's not the sole purpose of this anymore, right? And it's like that actually changed. And I think, Dad, I don't want to project anything onto your experience or assume anything because I don't think we've maybe ever talked about this explicitly, but it seems like at that point in your life, the idea of like settling down and having a family wasn't the goal either, if there even was
absolutely
like
not.
a clear goal. And so I wonder if part of it is, this is such a leading question, but is this kind of knowledge that it's like, this is for fun? This doesn't have to be anything. It takes this amount of pressure off of it. Like you said, Mom, to really give each other space. It's like that's the
That
overwhelming
was
message that you have space. And I wonder if taking the pressure off of it allowed that to happen more. I don't
maybe.
know.
I was very goal driven, and I had the things that I wanted to accomplish in my life, and I did not want a partner to get in the way of that. That was just not. I really enjoyed going out with my friends and going out on dates, but I did not want to have someone to share my life because I wanted to be able to control my own life, right?
Yeah.
And so I had my goals, and having a boyfriend wasn't part of that. And I did not want to compromise what I wanted to accomplish uh, for anybody.
Yeah.
At the
yeah.
point,
I think a really big lesson I learned from your mom was that this is fun. This is fun. This isn't like pressure. And you see a lot of people going into relationships and they're thinking in terms of, okay, is this going anywhere or not? Because if it's not going anywhere, I'm going to move on. And we never really looked at it that way. We never really thought of it that way. We thought of it, live in the moment, live in the present. It's working for us. We're happy. We each have, individual goals, and we had our, joint goals. And as time passed, a lot of our individual goals we realized had a lot in common with each other. And eventually, and I think, you bringing up goals, Paige, makes me think of this. One of my really good friends was asking me, I was talking to him, I think this is going to be the one. And he's like, but what, don't you have things you need to accomplish? And I said, if we do this now, if we get married, we're going to become a team towards these common goals. Instead of two individuals with individual goals, all of a sudden now we're a team. And that kind of makes light of the relationship. And I don't mean to do that. But what I'm saying is that there's now collaboration, there's support both ways. When I'm down, she brings me up. When she's down, bring her up. And there's this encouragement. And so I really do
Yeah.
look at it as a team effort towards common goals now.
Well, and I actually don't think that makes light of anything at all. I mean, I don't want to put anything onto mom's reaction to that because it's about y'all's relationship, But to me, that is like and a bias from being raised by y'all for sure. But it's like, is that not what anyone would want in a partnership? Is a partner, and for it to feel like these goals that I don't know why I'm starting to get emotional, but these goals that are so important to me, this purpose that I feel I have, to have someone else see that and to say, let's do this together. To me, it's like that is the only reason to get married, is like to kind of enshrine that commitment to one another in a really beautiful way.
Right.
So I don't think that makes light of anything, clearly.
And it's
As I'm crying.
certainly not the only way to have a relationship or the right
No.
way. There's
And
not
not
a
to
right
say
or a
that
wrong way. I think
someone,
but
not to make light of someone's relationship that is different than that, but my two
and that's
cents.
not what I
So,
was saying. I think it worked for us and it fit us, and
right.
it was quite magical, and I think it still is quite magical, to tell you the truth. Um, but it doesn't. You don't want to also discount or ignore the fact that we are individuals and we still have differences as well. I mean, it's the magic of commonalities and common goals and sharing, towards things like that is great. But you can't forget we do have individual interests and things that we pursue individually. And it's hard because sometimes they overlap in good ways and sometimes they overlap in a frictional kind of a way. And so, I think you just have to realize that part of the group goal is some individuality. You don't want your identity to be the other person. You still have to have your own identity, I think.
Yeah, I like the way you said that, of you don't want the group goal to be the other person, right? It's also not like, for me, in like theoretically getting to the age where, I mean, like all my friends are getting married or in serious relationships or blah, 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 blah. I say blah, 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 because we've talked about this so much, but it's like when you get to be in your mid 20s, especially in Texas and in the Bible Belt, where it's like it's normal to like ring by spring in college, you get married, you settle down. So I think being surrounded by that energy and really thinking about what I want, it's like it's not just looking for a partner to look at my goals and my purpose and say, yes, we're chasing that together, to have like, it's not just a cheerleader for me. It's also finding someone whose goals I would be proud to be a cheerleader for too, right? It's the
Right.
reciprocity of that it's like, it really does make both of you a better person in that way.
Synergy. I mean, right. We do have
Yes.
synergy for sure.
Yeah.